Hello, and welcome to Mental Health and Motivational Mondays. This is your small dose motivator, Tam Talk, here to bring you a small dose of motivation to get your week started. So, on last week's episode, I briefly described or defined what motivation is and how we need motivation on a daily basis. And so, I talked about motivation being our purpose, our reason, our why for doing what we do, for pursuing our goals. And oftentimes, I would see or hear where people say they didn't need motivation, they needed discipline. And truth be told, they actually need a combination of both, because motivation is your reason. Why do you feel like you need to be disciplined? Why are you disciplining yourself? What is it that you're trying to be consistent in? And to reach your goal. And so when you put it that way, then we have to understand why we do what we do. And so if we look at it from a different perspective, because I'm still on the topic of motivation, sometimes motivation will help us remove those things that we don't need to be pursuing. And I'll repeat that. Knowing our motivation will also help us remove those things that we don't need to be doing. You know, sometimes we're motivated, we get amped up and we try and we do multiple things, pursue multiple goals, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we try to do all those things at one time or simultaneously. And if we're not careful, it can lead to burnout, or we'll soon realize that, this particular goal that we are pursuing may not perhaps be the goal we need to be pursuing. Maybe we need to leave this to someone else to pursue. And so I want to title this episode as Sometimes We Have to Lose in Order to Win, right? Sometimes we have to lose in order to gain. And that is also motivation. Once we know what our whys are, our reasons for doing or pursuing a certain goal, it helps us to realize that, not everything needs to be pursued, right? It sounds good, it looks good, and it's flashy, what have you. And sometimes it may require more of us, more of our time. Or bottom line, it may not even be something that we need to be pursuing, right? It could be something that maybe God may have shared with us. And the timing may not be at this moment. It could be at another time. Or it could be that you are the person to share with the person who's actually supposed to be pursuing that goal, to share it with them. So sometimes, again, motivation is not so much of going hard after a goal, but sometimes motivation will check you and say, hold up, I'm running after the wrong goal. And so that's why it is important that we understand what our motivation is. Again, why is it that we do what we do? What is our reasoning for doing what we do? Because again, if we're not careful, we could exhaust or exert so much energy and time, and not I mentioned money, into a particular goal, and it may not even be the goal that we are supposed to be pursuing, right? And so I will share a personal story of mine, where I'm on this journey of reaching or pursuing a goal. Now, I will say this: over the course of the time that I'm in the trenches or being disciplined or being consistent in pursuing this goal, I noticed that my why consistently changed. It kind of oscillated. This is one reason why I'm doing it. And then as I get further in, it's like, okay, this is another reason. And sometimes that's me psyching myself out. But then there's other times where we go so hard, we're so motivated, and we're so challenged to pursue our goals or pursue that particular goal. Sometimes, we have to take the L, right? We have to take the L. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up stopping. I put the goal on pause because the timing was off. It was causing more headache and more stress on myself than necessary. And for what? Because I wanted to prove a point. And I realized that was my motivation. My motivation was to prove a point. Not so much that it's going to benefit me or benefit others in the long haul or the outcome. It was more of a thing of me trying to prove a point. So I had to do some deep recollection or reflection, and I decided to take the L, to throw up the white flag and surrender and say, this is not it. Although I thought this was it, although I thought God had told me this was it, I'm throwing up the white flag. Now, this was like several years ago, right? So I threw up the white flag. I laid it down. I took the L, what have you. And now I'm back at that goal. And what I'm realizing is that time that I was pursuing that goal was not the right time, right? It wasn't the right time to pursue that goal because it was, don't get me wrong, the purpose and your goals, some things will come easily or naturally, but also understand that there are things or goals that will require some hard work. But that was, during that time, it was a lot of hard work. And when I took the L and then came back and revisited when the space was better, when the mindset was better, I was able to pursue it. Is there hard work now? Yes, but not as hard or strenuous as it was before. And so what I've learned in that process of, or I guess trying to reach my goal or understand what my purpose was, is to, one, pace myself, to acknowledge those signs, to acknowledge those signs that, hey, this may not be your calling, this may not be your timing, or this may be the time. This is your opportunity to go forth with it at this moment. Because sometimes, again, it may not be that you shouldn't do it. It may not be the timing. It could be, and it may not be like, I'm lost words right now. It may not be that you shouldn't do it. Sometimes it may be that call to, okay, this is the time now. This is the time for you to pursue that goal. And so I had to learn to lean in and listen to those signs or the Holy Spirit when He spoke and said, okay, this is not for you, right? And I had to be comfortable and confident enough in taking the L or taking the loss when things aren't for me or weren't for me. Although I thought they were, they may not be for me. And again, it may be for me, but the timing may not be the timing for me, right? And you've heard me saying, I'm sure you've heard other people say there are seasons that we have to go through. Certain seasons require certain things or certain people or what have you. And if you take this time to pause, you can see how God is orchestrating the different experiences into where He's trying to take you, like the life lessons, the people, and so much more. And so that's where I am now. And this is what I'm sharing with you. Sometimes it is okay to take the loss. Sometimes it is okay to take the L. It doesn't define you. It doesn't consider you to be a loser. It's just, hey, you're confident enough to know that this is not for you, or this is not the timing for you. And that's okay. So motivation, not only, like I said, does it help you to go after a goal, it also helps you to realize that you may be pursuing the wrong goal. And sometimes you have to learn to take the loss or take the L. So that is another spiel, or another one of my spills on motivation and a different way or perspective of looking at that. So again, just to recap, motivation is your why, your purpose, your reason for reaching a specific goal or outcome. And sometimes motivation will also help you to discern whether or not you're on the right path or you're on the right goal. Sometimes motivation will allow you to be confident and make the decision to take the loss or the L. So that's all that I have for this week. So as always, don't worry, remain hopeful, remain happy, and have joy and peace. So until the next time, toodles and stay blessed.